Hello, my name is Thomas Wade, aka NewFate26, and this is a response to a video done by Satsu2Cents called Girls in the Boy Scouts. Now, to begin with, the reason that I'm making this video is that he raised some points that I'm not sure he understood exactly where he was trying to go with it. He did brush over a lot of the issues in the program that facilitates the main question at hand, specifically girls in the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouting programs, and by extension, how we can best help them grow and become better people. The big issue, as far as I'm aware, is that the scouting program in the United States is a huge anomaly compared to the rest of the world. I'm not sure how much so internationally, but I do know that in the US, the BSA and GSA programs are separate entities, with the BSA being founded first and the GSA later, originally called Girl Guides, if I remember correctly. These programs have both evolved differently over the course of time and have become radically different entities, whereas in the international scope of the world, Scouting is a more unified entity with programs that incorporate youth of both sexes. My qualifications for talking about this are that I am recognized as the rank of Eagle in the Boy Scouting program. I grew up in the program starting as a Tiger Cub in the Cub Scout program, moved on to the Boy Scout program where I was recognized as Eagle, and then moved on to the Venturing program, where I did not achieve the highest recognition and instead realized that the program's direction was not something that I wanted to pursue at that time. I also have a younger sister who went through the Girl Scouting program, started as a Brownie, and moved up through the ranks, achieving her gold award, and then moved on to the Venturing program, where she did move a little bit further than I am, but I'm not sure exactly how far. But at that point, I was paying attention to different aspects. My family is also involved in the scouting program, not as much as we used to be, but we still are on the books in our local council, specifically the East Texas Area Council for the Boy Scouts. Our involvement with the Girl Scouting program is at a bare minimum at this time. You brought up the Venturing program, or Venture Scouts of America, which is a secondary program under the umbrella of the Boy Scouts of America. The Venturing Scouts of America is a co-ed group that focuses on older youth, ages 14 to 21, and is specifically more leadership driven and more youth driven than its BSA companion. The BSA itself is supposedly more focused on developing the youth, whereas Venturing is focused more on giving the youth the opportunity to express what they have learned. In your video, you brought up talking points that seem to skirt around the primary issue that plagues the differences between the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts of America programs, or at least as I remember them from when I was a scout back in the 90s and early 2000s. The primary issue stems from how the two organizations address the youth and address the program itself. The Boy Scouts is primarily meant to focus on developing the youth. It is meant to give the youth the skills to become the leaders that our world would need. Whereas the Girl Scouts is focused primarily on image and keeping the program itself sustainable as an organization. A good example of this is when you look at their merit badge systems. The Boy Scout merit badges primarily fall into a couple of major categories. The big ones that someone from outside the program might recognize are, there are a lot of physical activity badges. Things like hiking, camping, swimming, and a lot of them are requirements. There are also a lot of required merit badges, such as community and world services. And these are meant to help improve the individual. On the other hand, the Girl Scout program has what my sister loved to call the Susie Homemaker merit badges, ones that focus primarily on cooking, such as the chocolate merit badge, as she loves to complain about. Also, things that focus on personal responsibility and personal ability, and a focus on individual accomplishments, and arts and crafts types merit badges. Whether it's because of the focus of these organizations or not, an interesting aspect is the retention of the youth involved in the individual programs. While this is anecdotal, I can say that from mine and my sister's personal experience, it is obvious that the Boy Scout programs have a higher retention of the individuals in the programs from the beginning stages to achieving the later recognitions. This is not the same in the Girl Scouts, where you have a sharp cutoff in the middle school ages, where the youths move on to other activities or migrate to different organizations, such as the venturing program in the Boy Scouts of America. Whether this is because they're looking for a more challenging focus in regards to their requirements, or whether it's just because their interests have moved on to different areas, this is still an undeniable fact. This can also be seen in the way that the programs themselves recognize the accomplishments of the individuals within those programs. For example, in Boy Scouting, achieving the next rank in the program is seen not as a reward, but as a recognition of their growth and accomplishment. Whereas in the Girl Scouts, it is seen as a reward for overcoming those difficulties. This even can be seen in the recognition of the highest levels in the programs themselves. The Eagle Scout rank in the Boy Scouts of America is recognized worldwide, and the Gold Award in the Girl Scouts, quite simply, is not. In regards to girls in the Boy Scouting program, quite honestly, girls are not allowed in the Boy Scouting program, just as boys are not allowed in the Girl Scouting program. The venturing program is an extension of the Boy Scouting program, yes, and it is a co-ed program. This is also correct. However, the people in the venturing program who are not members of the Boy Scouting program cannot achieve the rank of Eagle, which is a misconception that you seem to hold. Quite honestly, the Boy Scouting and Venture Scouting programs are different in and of themselves, and are treated as two separate entities. It is much the same way that the venturing program is different from the Explorers program, which is also a co-ed program that is an extension of the Boy Scouting program. although a much less common one. I do feel sympathy for the young girl, because it is difficult to see the people around you able to accomplish things and be recognized for things, and not you, when you feel that you are doing exactly the same work. And this is something that we all have to grow up with. Do I believe that the Boy Scouting program needs to be overhauled in order to accommodate this? That's an issue I'm not sure anyone is prepared to address right now. Do I think it would be a good thing? It can be. It can also be a very bad thing, because unfortunately we are talking about teenagers and taking them out to the middle of the woods once every month. And quite honestly, I do not see parents seeing that as an acceptable option when it's boys and girls, at least in America. As far as the organizations themselves, I agree that the Boy Scouts do need some help. And I agree that the Girl Scouting program needs a lot of help in its focus and direction. I personally feel that the Girl Scouting program is detrimental to its goals in helping girls become better individuals. In fact, a perfect example of this, in my opinion, is what you think of when you first think of the Boy Scouting and Girl Scouting programs. For Boy Scouting program, you might think of, say, camping and Eagle Scout projects, or even the homophobic aspects that the program is perceived to have. For the Girl Scouting program, without question, what I have found is that people think of it and think only of cookie cells and the Brownie Scouts. Whether this is a social issue, while this has parts of it are a social issue, a large part of it is the way that the Girl Scouting program itself projects its image, and that is primarily as a cookie selling organization. Thank you for listening, and I apologize for the rambling. I just really needed to get this out. And again, the scouting program is a program that helped make me the person I am today. And I love the program and what it can do in the future, and what it has done in the past, and what it is currently doing. Thank you for listening.